The most important thing to do here is all along this line here, but only this line here, anything that is bigger than 90 must be that 127. This is true because these two here are opposites. Okay? So if that's 127 there, I can also write in 127 there and there. And that's the first thing I did. Any idea how I worked out this was 53? Mason?
Take 180. No, take 127 away
from 180. Fantastic. If you put it into your calculator and say you said what you said to begin with, then that would have given the answer negative 53. So just use a bit of logic and go, well, it obviously can't be negative, and take the positive there. So I've written 53 along all of these, and that answered B for me straight away. Okay? So B is 53. Now, when you were taught this the very first time, it will have been a case that your teacher said, look, there's reasons behind this, so like Z angles are alternate angles, F angles, etc., etc. There's so many different ways we could have got to that fact that that was 53. They don't ask you for that in GCSE. Okay? Looking over at the other side, I've done exactly the same. 76 and 76, 76 and 76, and that worked out A for me straight away. So I know that A is 76 and B is 53. We also know, because I haven't edited it very well, that C is 51. Any idea how I worked that out? Excellent. Look here. I've got a triangle, haven't I? Okay. So I've got a triangle by here. That's 53. That's 76. If you add together the two angles in a triangle, you find out what the other one is when you take that away from 180. So I added those two together and got 129. 180, take away the 129, give me 51. I did all this without a calculator because I didn't realise at the time this was a calculator paper. Stick it into your calculator. Don't even run the risk of going wrong on this, okay? So then the final answers were as follows, and it'll literally be that you get a mark for each one of them. 76, 53 and 51, okay? So I did it. If I zoom to the bit that I wanted, it says a warning sign for a crossroads is to be placed at the speed limit which is 30 miles per hour away, or 30 miles per hour. Use the data above to find the minimum distance that the warning sign should be placed from the crossroads. Well, it's this one here. It is 9 metres, add 14. Okay? Now, can you spot the mistake in mine at all anywhere? It's a mistake, yeah, I accidentally answered it, okay? So you can see that anyone can make a mistake quite easily. I would have lost my 100% if I was going for that, so that shouldn't be 23 there, that should be 14. It's because 9 add 14 is 23. I'm assuming when I did it, I started to do it in my head and then started to answer it, okay? So just be careful because it's a silly mark to lose. I'd be pretty annoyed in hindsight. I was annoyed in hindsight looking at it. So 23 metres. Okay, for this question, you need to be careful because it looks very much, you can see the answers here already because I've already put them in, but it looks like there's a pattern, it's going up in 20s, but I'm pretty sure that's just a coincidence. You need to be working off this fact here to go and find these two facts here, okay? So what I did was I wrote down that 50 miles per hour is equal to 80 kilometres, and then to find 1 mile an hour, I divided both sides by 50. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. So 1 mile per hour is equal to 1.6 kilometres per hour. And then to find this missing 30 by here, I times both sides by 30. So that's how I worked out that was 48. Very similar method here, except this time I divided both sides by 80. This found 1 kilometre an hour here. This was 0.625 miles per hour. Then I times, because this is 112, I times both sides by 112. So 70 is equal to 112 kilometres an hour. For the next bit here, just be careful that the common misconception with this bit would be that this increases by 30, this increases by 20, so it's an overall increase of 50, and that's not true because they're different distances. So what I've done here is I've worked out, or I've gone and read off the table from the previous page. I've read that the thinking distance is 15 metres and the braking distance is 38 metres. So this 15 needs to be increased by 30%, and this 38 needs to be increased by 20%. So what we need to do is work out 30% of 50, 30% of 15, sorry, and 20% of 38. So that's what I've done here and here, and 30% means 30 out of 100 times by 15 is that. Same thing here. So my total distance would have been both of these two here, but also this and this. So I've just added together all of the numbers together, and I've got 65.1 metres. So far, on a total of 13 marks. Okay, so the important point you had to go and plot yourself was 2, 2. And scale factor 2 means getting 2 times as big. Okay? So go and plot that point 2, 2 first of all. That's all I'm doing to begin with. 2, 2. Now what I'm doing, I always go and pick the nearest point to the centre of enlargement. So it's literally that one there. So how do I get to this point here from my centre? Well, I literally just go up 1, don't I? Go back to your centre. Double that distance because scale factor is 2. So 1, 2, plot a new corner there. Now you've got 2 options next. You could either carry on doing that for every corner of the shape and say, well, I go to get to this point here, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 across and 1 up. I'm now going to go 8 across and 2 up. Or you could say in the original shape, this is a line of 4 squares. So in the enlargement, it must be 8 squares. Good. So that's exactly the way I did it. I just drew a line that was 8 along from here. Then this was 2 originally. So in the enlargement, it must be 4. Good. Okay. And then I just drew my shape like that. Okay. So a lovely, is that 2 marks? 2 marks. Sometimes it can be worth 3. Okay. So 2 marks there. So the important point being 2, 1. You need to plot that. So that means across the corridor to 2, up to 1. Make sure you draw your crosshair because of that will automatically split things into 90, 180, 270, or 360. That would be going clockwise, so anti-clockwise, this would be 90, 180, 270, 360. Miles, you were very quick on the case when he said it didn't tell us which direction to do, but what did we find out when we thought about what 180 is? It doesn't matter because it's half a turn. If you move half a turn, you'll end up being just the other way around, okay? Now, my one here, I didn't have tracing paper on, and I have made a small mistake, okay? You should be putting your tracing paper on there. You trace this shape here, but you also trace this and the crosshair. If you do that then correctly, it should have been by here and up to here, okay? So I should have had this shape here as well, and then not this bit here, okay? So the first thing I've done is from this table here, I've written out my exchange rates just from the order they've said here, okay? And you've got to make sure you're going to the right ones at all the right times, okay? Now, the first thing I was told was that Janie had 450 American dollars. So I've written here $450, so dollars here, so I'm following the divide by arrow to turn it into pounds. You got a method mark if you said that you were dividing there, even if you picked the wrong exchange rate, just because you had to know to divide, okay? That gave this answer here. I rounded to 2dp. Why did I do that? It's 2dp. It's money. But because it is a QWC question, I told them that, okay? So all I did was just say I rounded 2dp for money, so it'll be in pounds and pence. That's all you have to do for the QWC. You don't have to do much. And then I've just referenced here dollars to pounds, okay? So it's not like me writing an essay for this. The next thing I did was I changed Amy's money, so she had 30,000 yen. She turned that into pounds. So again, I divided by that exchange rate. That gave this horrible long number, which I then rounded to that, and again to 2 decimal places. Well done. Walking around, the amount of you that rounded that correctly to 09 instead of 08 was brilliant. Now, there's a number of different ways to go from here. I know Lloyd did one way. I know Mason did another. I know Mia did another. I was having a look through. Now, the way that I've done it, I said the total they have in pounds. I've got Kate's 250 quid, plus Janie's 186 quid. Oh, sorry, 286 pounds, and Amy's 231 pounds, and their pence as well. Okay? But then I subtracted 200 pounds. Why? Because they spent £100 each, and I think that's the way you did it as well, isn't it, Mason? Okay? Now, what Lloyd did was as soon as he worked out their currency thing there, what did you do from there? Here. Well, you took away the 100 quid straight away.
Yeah, I took it away.
Absolutely fine, it's up to you. And then Lloyd actually changed that into euros, that into euros, and that into euros separately, and then added that total together. All of that's going to happen is that you'll probably get a slightly different amount of cent to what I'm going to get just due to rounding. And you'll be allowed an answer to a certain amount of DPs here, okay? So if you haven't got exactly the same as mine, as long as it's in the same ballpark, by about 50 cents, 50p, 50 cent-ish, you should be fine, okay? So I found their total in pounds was £567 and 71p. I multiplied that by 1.18 to turn it into euros, which gave me 669.90, 0.90 to 2 decimal places, Joe. What you need to be getting sit down. Okay?
So I had 6, 7, 8.
Fine. Did you have 669-ish? Yeah, fine. Not an issue. Okay? Here, the top one, I think is really, really hard. I don't think it's easy at all, but I have just been with someone who did it like that. It doesn't matter. If you didn't get it, it's only 1 mark. It's not the end of the world. But if you got it, great. It's another mark in the bag. Right. If it's the mean daily snowfall in a week is 5.6, that means on every day it was 5.6. Truth be told, that wouldn't really happen. There'll be some days where it was more, some days when it was less, and that's what the mean does. It finds out an average for us, okay? So I've written Monday to Sunday, 5.6 on every day, and because it snowed 2 centimetres more on each day, every day went up by 2, so that means the average must have been 7.6. The other question, the one that was more important than that, was this one here. So you had to create your midpoint column. If you did that, 1 mark, grey out under it so you don't accidentally add it. Midpoint times frequency, if you did that column, another mark. 65 divided by 10 got you a mark, and then 6.5 gets you the final mark. And remember, 6.5, is it in between 4.5 and 9.5? Yes, so then we're probably right. Okay? Right then, guys.